Welcome back to Voters Decide the Hispanic Vote 2024, a town hall. At this hour, we've been looking at the issues that are important to Hispanic voters during this hour, and we're going to continue another half hour from TV 33 to our streaming service, CBS News Miami. Now, let's talk about two words, socialism and communism. Rhetoric has been tossed around that all Democrats are socialists. We've been seeing where making that association has caused concerns for Hispanic voters, and where it's been used effectively to win elections left me wondering, where was the response to those accusations? Why didn't somebody come out and clear the record? I didn't hear it in the last congressional election. So let's get a question on that issue from Sergio Bustos, Vice President of News at South Florida WLRN. Sergio.
Thanks again for the very robust debate. Bueno verlo.
That's what we're here for.
Yes, I want to go back in time a bit. In 2018 and 2020, as Eliott mentioned, Hispanic voters in Miami-Dade, particularly Cuban and Venezuelan, who fled dictatorships, echoed a very deep-rooted fear that Democrats lean socialist communist. Donald Trump capitalized on that fear. Biden and Democrats dismissed it. What do you think, and I'm open to anyone answering, what do you think, what lessons have Democrats learned about crafting a response to something, to the whole socialist communism attack, be it founded or unfounded?
Well, I think it's going to be very hard for them to say that Democrats are not socialists when you have a Bernie Sanders, when you have an Ocasio-Cortez. So I think that's the perception. And again, we go back to perception. This is the image that they have. The rest, you know, I remember a time where Democrats and Republicans worked together. It's not anymore because it's become so polarized. So I don't know what their response will be and how it's going to be crafted. But it's very hard to, every time that you see, for example, one of the candidates that was on the third in line for vice president, this woman was a member of the Venceremos Brigade in Cuba. She was a recruiter. That woman was recruiting Americans to go to Cuba and cut cane while Americans were dying in Vietnam. This is the lady that was in line for vice president. So are they socialists? Again, we go back to perception.
Maybe that lady with the Venceremos squad, maybe she was.
But she was being handpicked by Biden as one of his...
Is Obamacare socialism? Is Medicare socialism, and all the guaguitas that take the older folks, my parents among them, to their doctor's appointments?
You know why Medicare is not socialism? You know why it's not socialism? Because you contribute every day of your life as a work person. In the workforce, you contribute to that fund. This is not like Cuba that they tell you health care is free. No, you spend your whole working life contributing for that.
Okay,
now,
Professor,
I think it would be
Medicare socialism?
I think it would be very interesting to remind the audience that when Claude Pepper, our representative, one of the founders of Social Security, he was rebaptized as Red Pepper. Yeah. Right? Because at the very beginning there was this perception that Social Security was a socialist agenda, right? And most of these social programs, they're social programs, right? It's the state funding programs. Now, however you want to see it, I mean, there's this idea that we are putting money in and this money is being saved for us, and that money then will, we'll get it when we retire. That's not the way it works.
But you're putting it in.
Yes, but
you're paying for your Medicare.
It's a pay-as-you-go system. It actually takes about 12 people to pay for your retirement and my retirement.
But you're paying for it. It's not being given to you free.
But the state is handling that. And so the distinction here, I think, is, how much state or how little state you have. And this idea that Donald Trump is a libertarian free marketeer is really kind of an interesting idea, because
he's more free marketeer than Joe Biden, right?
I don't know, frankly. He's anti-free trade. He's an absolute interventionist into everything from your bedroom to the regulation of the economy. right?
Thank goodness
That's
they're
why
not
when
for
you
one candidate or
when you
the
think
other.
when you think about
Yeah, but that's a good point. When you have the government telling you, telling a woman what she can do with her body, isn't that a form of government intervention?
I think that I believe it was Ferdinand who spoke of the American experiment. One of the things that makes this country the greatest country on earth is that irrespective of your gender, your last name, your color, your height, your nationality, anything, this is a meritocracy. You come here, you can work, you can make something great of yourself. 1 month after we arrived to Cuba, my mom was already supporting her family back home. 1 month. In 1980, in the middle of a recession under Jimmy Carter. That only happens in the United States of America. What happens, and you ask, is Obamacare socialist? We're becoming top heavy. The bigger the government, the more burdensome it is for the little guy to rise above his means and look for upward mobility. No longer can people open businesses as they used to. We need a strong, vibrant middle class in order to have a stable society and a stable political system, and they are wrecking it.
Jose, is the Democratic Party anti-business?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, she's complaining about small businesses, and in the last quarter, there were more people filing for small business applications than in the past. So the party that has radicalized is the party, like Professor Gamarra said, the one that's anti-trade right now, the one that's anti-immigration. I benefited from Ronald Reagan's 1986 immigration reform. The party that doesn't believe that the United States should play a role in foreign affairs, and who has a candidate who attacks NATO and encourages Putin to do whatever the hell they want with them. That's the Republican Party of today. Ronald Reagan would be rolling in his grave if he saw what Donald Trump has done to the Republican Party.
Oscar, you know that
yet we didn't have a war under Ronald
Putin wants to
Donald Trump.
recreate the Soviet Union. He's an old world-style communist, right? How are we okay with somebody who says good things
Who put
about
sanctions on Putin? Who put sanctions on Putin? Now, when you talk about what is happening, and Trump had done that before. So when you talk about, what about Biden telling the Israeli people how they're supposed to defend themselves? Because he's in such a mess right now that he needs to call for a ceasefire. Are we now the party of or the country that tell other countries how they should defend themselves? Because he has a lot of protests from Palestinians.
Professor?
That's what's happening. The Democrats, I'm sorry, they only react, and they react attacking others. That's what people are so upset with Democrats.
But, you know, I find it very interesting, Eliott, as you know, I'm Bolivian, right? And you're Cuban, and we have people from different places here. And as a Bolivian, I tend to look at the world from what happened to Bolivia in the last 20 years. Evo Morales became president, who has a great relationship with Putin. Venezuelans, Maduro has a wonderful relationship with Putin, right? Díaz-Canel has a beautiful relationship with Putin. And who else has a beautiful relationship with Putin? Donald Trump.
Excuse
so
me,
we have,
excuse me.
you know, I think we have to see
No. Trump has, and again, I'm not here to defend Trump, but he has not come out to defend Putin. But
Yes, he has. If I may, Eliott, he stood in Helsinki, Finland, right next.
Wait a minute. Somebody here said, "Who are you going to believe, me or your ears?"
No.
I'm going to
listen
believe.
to this. What about when Obama? The mic was open and Medvedev said, "Give me some time." Obama said, "And I can be more flexible after elections." Tell Putin that. Who said that? Obama, not Trump.
Trump stood in Helsinki, Finland, and said, "I believe you more than I believe the CIA and my intelligence services."
Well, maybe he knew something.
You forgot that.
No. But again, I'm not here to
I heard that. I heard that with my ears.
My father was a political prisoner in Cuba, right? And he would always he always admired some of the qualities Fidel had. Now, did he admire Fidel? Absolutely not.
Right.
But he admires some of his quality. But you cannot disregard the fact that this man led a country for 60 years and had the huge populace, and the population were enamored with his tactics. Now,
What?
yes. Yes.
No, I don't admire that
I don't,
at all.
I don't.
Ned.
There's nothing to admire about a totalitarian.
No, I am not.
who
Listen, you're not going to
represses his
school me
people.
on not
And
admiring
there's nothing
Fidel.
to
You
admire,
are
by
not
the way.
going to. You are not going to school me
You're
on
not
not
going to school
admiring
me either.
Fidel.
I'm also a Cuban
Okay.
exile whose family had political prisoners as
Fabulous,
well.
but
So
you're
let's
not going to school
play
me.
the game of who's more
You're not going to turn it
patriotic
around
than
on me.
anyone else
No,
here,
there
all
are
right?
things that people do that whether you like them or not, they do them well. And that's simply what I'm stating.
What do you
And-
state?
but-
What about when Donald Trump said he was in love with Kim Jong-un, the communist
Oh, give me
dictator
a
of North
break.
Korea?
Give me
Give
a
you a break.
break.
Everything
Love
is fine.
letters.
There was,
It
listen,
doesn't, it's not
there
true.
was,
What
they
about when he
stopped the
praised
rocket,
Hitler
the
the other
rocket
day?
testing. They
Hitler has
stopped
done
the
some
rocket
good
testing.
things.
The test is, the proof is in the pudding. They stopped the rocket testing, and we didn't have a war in Ukraine, and we're not sending our money to Russia or
Or
to
Iran.
Ukrainians. Okay?
So, you know,
That's what
and let me tell you something else about why people are upset with Democrats. We have a dictatorship in Cuba. Putin, obviously, and Diaz-Canel are
Right.
very close. And here is the State Department and the American Embassy in Havana promoting businesses in Cuba. And there is a law in the United States as the embargo, and they're promoting it. These are the things that people, Cubans at least, look at that and say, these people are socialists.
Let me throw out a question to the panel. Any of you can take it. Do we as Hispanics like strong men? Do we like dictators, caudillos, as they call
No,
them?
I think that's putting
Are we
us down.
attracted to them?
No, I think that is putting us down. And I think I'm really sick and tired of the fact that people tend to think of Hispanics uneducated. Oh no, they listen to the radio and they go crazy. Oh no, people tell them what to do. I'm sorry, but that's racist, and we're not uneducated.
Okay, so we're starting.